everyone, welcome to part 2 of Africa's premier sports video podcast, the 3 Quarters podcast. Join the hashtag 3QP, tell us what your sporting interests are, and give us feedback about the show. I'm BMOTW.
And I'm Ngarakamwea.
So we start off with a bad man of the week.
Yeah.
I did a little digging.
Yeah.
And I heard, there's some guys who played really, really well. Of course, we mentioned them in part 1. Guys, if you haven't watched part 1, watch part 1. And then now move to part 2. So yeah, of course, you had Anthony Nyandegisi breaking the line quite a few times.
Yeah.
Quinto, I think, only missed maybe 3 conversions out of all of, 71. yeah.
Going to 71 points.
Yeah, so he had a pretty good day. And Songmu as well obviously had a good day. But who was your bad man of that game? Oh, that's from the Mwamba versus Impala game.
All those guys you mentioned, like you said, had a good game. But for me, it was good to see what I had missed of Samuel Oliech in 15s. I always enjoy watching Oliech at 15s more than 7s. I'm sorry, Sammy. Because he's somebody whose rugby IQ, you get the feeling, is more, from the way you watch him play, you get the feeling is above par or his contemporaries. And he's able to exploit it very well in the game of 15s. You remember when he was playing for the Kenya Simbas at 15s, the number of times he would break the line, even when he was swept or slotted into 10, the line breaks he would have. The 2015-2016 season, Impala's dream season, where they got to the finals. You even get the feeling that they kind of dipped after Samuel Oliech went into the 7s. And it's been a while since we've seen him play 15s the way we know he can play. So it was good to see him play the way he did on the day.
All right, well, very well done.
Yeah.
This is not because they know each other. It's really not.
It's not.
So we move on to the shorter version of the game.
Yeah.
We had Singapore 7s. So, pool games. We had played against England, lost 36-7.
Yeah.
Played against USA, lost 14-17. That's a very narrow loss, so that's an improvement. Played against Wales, beat Wales 19-14. Then we went on to the Challenge Trophy quarterfinals, where we lost to France 24-14. So 13th place semi. Played against Japan, beat them 31-24, and then won the Shield. After that, we played Spain and beat them 21-5. So we're 13th overall, which is, we're doing a little better. But what do you think of the boys' performance?
Of course, definitely the introduction of the more experienced players has helped. And the results that we've gotten in Singapore and Hong Kong, not what we were accustomed to, because truth is, and we've talked about it, Damima, the truth is that more experienced players are on their way out. So even though they came back into the team, these guys are not going to be playing for too long.
No.
So yes, they need to pass the baton on to the new guys, and they can only do that through camaraderie and environment and them being together. And that's what we've seen in the last 2 legs. Then the question I ask is the problem then the tactics? And that's not for me to answer, because with the fusion of the older and the younger players, I expect a better result. But look, all in all, it's an improvement from what you've seen throughout the 2018-2019 HSBC 7th circuit. So kudos to the boys still trying to fight relegation.
So guys, when we ask questions like, is it the tactics?
Yes.
This is where you jump onto the hashtag 3QP and you let us know what you actually think. Because, we want to know. We want to know your opinion. We want to know whether you think it's a coach, whether you think, it's the players, whether you think we should get the other players back, whether you think we should just phase these guys out, because, they are getting older.
Yes, they are.
And I think it's getting to a point where I read a post. A lot of you guys are part of the group Rugby Banter. And I read a post from Dan Weku, who used to play Kenya, in Kenya, and is now not in Kenya. And I remember a part of it where he was saying that, look, you guys want all these senior players back and blah blah blah, but maybe relegation is what we need to wake us up, be like, look, now we need to start rebuilding, we need to work, and this, so hey.
You see, the reason it's a plus and a minus. The reason why I say the relegation thing is, again, to echo something I saw from Nondi's chairman Augagesheo. He said that maybe we should get relegated and then we get rid of people who are becoming a nuisance in rugby, the people who came with the money, the people who are not there when they were there just for rugby. So maybe it's good you get relegated, then you get rid of those people. But on the other hand, granted, Danwick was saying, was talking about, I think it's Fred Lawrence commented and said that when Osir and Benjamin Aimba were leaving, then the Humphrey Kayanges were coming in. Now, there's been a transition since then, but we've not been relegated. I don't know if I'm making sense. The transition
there was a transition,
there's been
but we haven't been relegated.
But we haven't been relegated. Yeah. So, if at all we want to continue, as wrong as we may feel, if we want to continue with Sevens as our flagship program, then we cannot be affording relegation.
Yeah.
The transition has to be happening smoothly, and that's something that maybe the people in charge should be thinking about. The transition needs to be happening smoothly. Yeah.
Also, I mean, relegation, iko watu wao. It's hard to get out of there.
Yes.
Well, once you're there, it's like when you drop to like challenge trophy, even on the local 7th circuit.
Yes.
There are guys who know this is our place, this is our trophy.
Yes.
Anyway,
that's true.
Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
So we move on to the Young Boys, and that's the Kenya Secondary Schools Sports Association.
Yes.
Yeah, so the 2019 results. We had, for 15s, we had Dagoretti play against Kangaroo, beat them 33-0. And then Kakamega played against Alliance, beat them 22-0. So in the playoff, we had Kangaroo and Alliance. Kangaroo winning that 12-7.
Yeah.
And in the cup final for 15s, we had Dagoretti and Kakamega. And Kakamega beating them 18-11. For 7s, in the playoff, we had St. Peter's Mumias versus Vihiga. St. Peter's Mumias winning that 19-5. And in the final, we had Upper Hill winning against Laser Hill 10-5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, by the KSSSA, Kenya Secondary School Sports Association, started on a sad note. Muhuri Mushiri lost one of their players to the waves of the Indian Ocean. He drowned. It was an unfortunate start to the tournament, but the tournament did kick off. This is the breeding ground for our future players.
Yep.
And it's good to see that it's still happening. My only problem is bunking up everything, because I remember back in the day, first time used to be for the 7s, then second time used to be for 15s, so that everyone was involved. Bundling them up, then now you're separating, and not everyone can participate. Schools have to choose: do I focus on 7s?
Do I focus on 15s?
So there's that, and then of course, it's a good thing for the old folk. It's not a good thing because the traditional powerhouses from back in the day, the Nananas, St. Mary's, Nairobi schools, they're not there. But it's good for the game in terms of seeing new schools. I'm seeing schools like Kangaroo, and I'm like, Jesus. The last time I heard of Dagoretti High School was 2014, that got to the Prescott semi-finals. So it's good for the game. You see the new people who are taking up the game. It definitely feels good.
Definitely. So now on to really serious matters. Rugby Africa confirmed that there will be no Gold Cup. So this comes after Kwese Sports pull out their sponsorship, basically. So they cancelled their contract, and that leaves a big gap, in the funds that run the tournament. So what do you? I mean, obviously, we know the effect this will have, but what do you think of all of this?
I mean, this has been coming. During last year's Gold Cup, I had the privilege of having a chat with one of the sponsors for Rugby Afrique, and his biggest issues were two. Number one, the fact that while rugby was predominantly sub-Saharan in Africa, it was still being run by the North Africans. That was one of the issues. Number two was the fact that you had in leadership people who do not look at the commercial angle of sports. People who you didn't have entrepreneurs. So you were unable to look at the product as a business. And I remember him mentioning that if it continues the way it did, he didn't see Kwese staying in for long. Because look, as a broadcaster, there has to be a return on investment. And if I'm sinking in all that money, and I don't think things are going to change, and I don't think the people in leadership look at sports as a business, because that's the only way I make money. And that's what I guess informed Questa's decision to pull out.
Yep.
It just didn't make business sense to invest in Rugby Africa, and therefore the Gold Cup is terminated.
Yep.
And therefore, that means we don't have international games.
Yeah, so no Gold Cup, actually no Silver Cup either.
No Silver,
just when Nigeria were getting back into the fold, we're going to host the Silver Cup. Anyway, we move on to international rugby.
Yeah.
So Super Rugby match day 9, Crusaders versus Highlanders 43-17, Rebels 24, Stormers 41, Chiefs 33, Blues 29. Brumbies 31, Lions 20, Sharks 17, Jaguares 51, and Bulls 32, Red 17. Are those as you expected?
Yeah, as expected. Person who's causing moves in the Super Rugby this season is, of course, Manono, former New Zealand centre, back in New Zealand. When he signed for the Blues last year, I told the guys, this guy is not stupid.
Yeah.
It looks like he's gunning for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And you can see he's explosive. And there's something Steve Hansen said at the last World Cup. They really took him on about the age of his players, the core of his players, Manonu, Dan Carter, Rich Mako, all those guys, because they are all between 32 and 37 years. And he said, look, if what you get with these old guys, if they're in shape, and our guys are in shape, is experience. And that you cannot teach.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to tell people. Do not be shocked if Manono is selected for the All Blacks team for this year's World Cup.
Well, let's wait and see.
Yeah.
So match day 10, we've got Chiefs, Lions, Sunwolves versus Hurricanes, Sharks versus Reds, Highlanders versus Blues, Waratahs versus Rebels, and Stormers versus Brumbies.
Yep, so Super Rugby action is still continuing. Make sure you place your bets for those guys on Super Bro and just see how good you are at calling shots.
Yep, and right before we wrap it up, Izzy Folou. Izzy Folou. Why? Yes, so I saw this on Instagram. And he says, warning, drugs, homosexuals, adulterers, liars, fornicators, thieves, atheists, idolaters. Hell is waiting for you. So, of course, Rugby Australia, like you, honestly, most people don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But of course, there are different ways to look at it. What do you think?
Let me tell you, if you see, from what I've seen in sports, if you see something like this really being addressed, if you see people taking on things like this, it's because of a commercial interest. There's somebody who belongs to that group, whether it's a drunkard or is homosexual or whoever he is, there's somebody who calls shots who belongs to that group. And that's why that comment must have irked them. And because of that, Izzy Folou is going to most likely have his contract terminated with Rugby Australia. I feel, and I like what he said. He said, look, I love rugby, I love the game of rugby, and I want to continue playing footy, but my beliefs come first. And if that's going to be the issue, then I can't be playing rugby anymore. And it's fine with him. So, look, you have to applaud the man for standing by his principles.
So guys, what do you think? Do you think that he should, do you think that he should stand by what he says and, freedom of speech and all of that? Or do you think that because he's a public figure and we're trying to be all-inclusive in all the sports we play, in all our work environments, let us know. Hashtag is 3QP. Remember, you can follow us on social media. That is by following us on Instagram, liking our page on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm BMOTW.
And I'm Ngara Kamuya.
See you in part 3.